Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Fabian Morris, and I bring to you the crisis of my fellow citizens in Libya. Today, the delegation from Libya is here to discuss one of the most silent yet perilous issues in the world. We speak of modern-day slavery, a grave violation of human rights. We are here to discuss human trafficking. Throughout this presentation, you will grasp an understanding of what is human trafficking, the effects of human trafficking, the unique conditions that feed trafficking in my country, Libya, and also my recommendations as a youth ambassador towards fighting human trafficking in Libya. Shall we begin? According to Article 3, Paragraph A of the Protocol to Prevent, Suppress, and Punish Trafficking in Persons, defines trafficking in persons as the recruitment, transportation, transfer, harboring, or receipt of persons by means of the threat or use of force or other forms of coercion, of abduction, of fraud, of deception, of the abuse of power, or of a position of vulnerability, or of the giving or receiving of payments or benefits to achieve the consent of a person having control over another person for the ultimate purpose of exploitation. Certainly, the very nature of this lends itself to be disastrous to any country. Here are some of the impacts of human trafficking. Firstly, trafficking may result in the loss of opportunities domestically, which includes an irretrievable loss of human resources and future productivity, according to the U.S. Department of State in 2011. Furthermore, those trafficked for the purpose of sexual exploitation are at risk of HIV/AIDS and other sexually transmitted infections, and of the spreading of these diseases amongst the wider society. The geographical orientation in my country makes it a primary hub for refugees and migrants fleeing hostile environments in their home countries and seeking asylum in Europe. Oftentimes, these countries include Nigeria, Sudan, Senegal, amongst many others. The end result of this is a young population suffering such extreme and economic hardship that their only hope is to flee with no set plan other than to hopefully wash up on European shores, Mr. President. Unfortunately, many never make it. Europe's border control is getting tighter and tighter. Recently, the Libyan Coast Guard, supported with funds and resources from the EU, has cracked down on both smuggling refugees and migrants to Europe, with estimates of 400,000 to almost 1 million people now bottled up in Libya. Detention centers are overrun, and conditions in these centers have been described as horrific, as this is where migrants are vulnerable to be sold off as laborers in slave auctions. Ladies and gentlemen, now may I ask, isn't this modern day slavery? Because in my beloved country, it's a total extortion machine, fueled by the absolute rush of migrants thinking they can get out of poverty, following a dream that quite frankly does not exist. Understanding this, as a youth, I am also a part of the vulnerable group of persons that can be trafficked, has led to deep contemplation on what can be done. To this forum, I submit today the establishment of a strong government in my country, as through unity, the government should be able to gain control, authority, legitimacy over all the state resources and infrastructure. Another recommendation could be the recruitment of more youth ambassadors to launch a campaign that would advocate for Libya and the United Nations to take a stronger stance when it comes to investigating, condemning, and ending the Libyan slave trade, and to raise awareness of what is happening in Libya, encouraging them to fight to the end towards ending Libya's slave trade. So based upon all the information presented here today, it is without any dispute that human trafficking is a major crisis in my country that needs to be addressed immediately. I end with a quote by Albert Einstein that states, "The world is a dangerous place, not because of those who do evil, but because of those who look on and do nothing." I yield to the chair.